Guys, we're here with Jose Santiago with a slightly overdue top cut finish. This is my favorite player in the game right now, so I'm so happy that he finally got this top. He was playing Dragon Link Punk. It's pretty sweet. Let's get into it. Any shout outs you want to get first?
Yeah, shout out to so many people. Team RMC for sure supporting me. Everyone on the team, Tommy, Kamal for topping. Everyone else who just supports, asked me how my rounds are going. That was awesome. Everyone I test with, Jumpy, Felix, Tage, there's so many people. Like, if I forget you, I'm so sorry. Shout out everyone. You've all helped. Noah as well. But yeah, I played Dragon Link Adventure Punk. I think the issue with the format right now is if you play like a consistent deck like Marin Test or Sword Soul, your deck doesn't have a high enough ceiling. But if you play one of these decks, your deck has a high ceiling, but you're not as consistent. So you just kind of have to roll with it. And if you want to win the tournament, you probably have to play one of these type of decks. So I played Brave cards. These cards are still insane. They just allow you to, they're the best levels. Like, they put a level 4 and a level 7 and let you go into Hulk lines whenever you have a tuner. They just bait out interactions and they always give you follow-up. Milling this off rulers, insane. These are just like insane cards still, so you want to play them. Triple quick launch, boot sector, double tracer, recharger, rocket synchron, and Abs router. So this deck's really cool. You can like open a 5-card hand, and it's like a lot of people just know this deck for the standard summon Griffin, Hulk line, summon Red Rose. But there's like a lot of cool things you can do, and depending on your hand, you can go for different lines and routes. And these are some of the cards that allow you to do that. These cards are just really cool. Quick Launch is a good extender. Not once per turn, obviously. Gets you access to Tracer when you need it. I wanted to play Rocket Synchron, obviously, because I play Hot Red, and that card's really good to play around Dark Ruler post side. If you keep the Basil or you just have a Quick Launch or a random quick play, you can negate Dark Ruler that way with Hot Red, so that was really good. There was consideration to only play one Tracer, but having the extra body and tuner comes up. As far as the ratios, like I just wanted the second one. Also, milling it is good. You just want to have access to it in grave, otherwise you can pissy summon it back, so having access to it was very important. And I played the Punk cards. Like, these cards were insane. Like, whenever you draw a teleport, basically your whole hand just baits out the interactions on the board, and then you can just like follow with a teleport, and you're gonna win almost every time. Simply because like you get a summon ruler, mill 5, maybe you mill some cards that give you a body on board or something else. Summon back to Almond, make Hulk. Hulk summon something out, and at that point, like, you just link climb to an access code, pop 2 to 3 cards, and you have access code ruler for 83. These cards are just insane. They raise the ceiling of the deck. I mean, it does suck to like draw this card. This card's not that bad of a draw because again, you could just normal summon it and it's a tuner. It came up a couple times where I actually just normal summoned it and used the effect, obviously without using the Brave cards, but that comes up too. This card's not too bad to draw. It's not the best draw, but it serves as a pseudo extender. But this card, insane. Also, like, these cards are really good too. Another reason I want to play this deck, like, you have so many chainables. I have so many ways to get access to tuners and chainables to anti-spell. I think I got anti-spelled like probably 4 or 5 out of the 12 rounds I played, and a lot of the times I won. I think I only lost 1 game I got anti-spelled. You just use these, link climb to a uniform, bounce it, then start using your right stuff, and it's GG from there. And then the Rose cards, obviously, like, it sucks to draw this. This is decent. It's not terrible to draw, but it's also not the best. This is insane to draw. You just have to play these. They give you too many bodies. These being lower than level 4 is insane because you can use them to make Striker and Pisty. There's lines where you'll summon this off Hulk. You'll go for a Pisty line, summon it back, summon this to add Basil just to get an extra extender, maybe to go into like a Boro end. So it's just insane. I played Destrudo. Kind of like a weird inclusion. It's a dragon. It's cool. It's a tuner. Another reason I liked Destrudo was that obviously I played Ravine. I wanted another option to send off Ravine in case I already had access to a Tracer through Abs router, or had already used Abs router. So Destrudo filled that purpose. Also, when you draw this with a Brave card, it's really, really good because instead of pitching the Draco back, you can just pitch this, and it's a free tuner. Again, you can just activate it from the graveyard, so you get to keep your Draco back in a lot of matchups. I didn't get mined. I got mine like once the whole tournament, but keeping the Draco back, I did that all day. Like, keeping it just is so plus. Play Snow. You have to play Snow. It's a pseudo brick, even though you can discard it in some hands. It just like raises the ceiling of your deck, lets you play through cards like Droplet and Dark Ruler. You just like they bait out all your interactions on the field, and then you use Snow and you probably have like at least one other hand trap because you go through so many cards, and that's good enough most of the time. Also, there's like a cool play where off Borrow End, if you Snow them, you can like Borrow End to negate, summon back Tracer, and if you haven't used Tracer effect, you can pop Snow on your opponent's turn to summon out like a Rocket Synchron or the Recharger to Snow them again. So that's cool. I did that a couple times. Played Foolish. It's like, this card's insane. Love this card. It's like the best card in the deck. Gets you access to like a Tuner, a Rocket, or a Brave card. So insane. Call by. I was originally side decking this, but I thought to myself, like, if I wanted to do well in the tournament, I'm gonna have to sack and draw this card a couple times. I did draw it a couple times, so thankfully I main decked it. That was pretty good. And then for the hand traps, I played 3 Nibiru, 3 Veiler, 3 Ash, 1 Ogre. I played the 1 Ogre because sometimes you want like a second target off E-Tele in case you draw 2. It never really came up. Like, I never really summoned Ogre off E-Tele. I think it came up maybe 1 time. So there's like consideration to cut this, but this was just good. Like, I drew it a couple times, milled it off Ruler, added it. It was kind of just like icing on the cake. So I played 10 hand traps. I main deck 42. One thing you can see in this deck, I didn't play Chaos Space. I don't think Chaos Space is that good. I think this deck is really good when you can utilize your hand to make a board and then keep hand traps. Whereas Chaos Space, you typically have to get rid of your hand traps to start establishing your board in some scenarios. Also, like, the dragons aren't really good other than white. I just didn't think Chaos Space was that good. I also didn't play Gamma, so like, Chaos Space was much weaker in my deck if I decided to play it. I didn't want to have like a 3-card combo to beat 1 Ash, where I'd have to activate Chaos Space, pitch a Lighter Dark, and then activate Gamma just to beat 1 Ash. So I decided to forego it and not play it. If they were going to Ash something, they were going to Ash Teleport or Quick Launch. And then it trades 1 for 1 instead of trading 2 for 1 with a Chaos Space. And then for the extra deck, this card, I love this card. I hope it doesn't get banned. Yeah, I just hope it doesn't get banned. Striker Dragon, Pisty, Romulus. I played Dark. I was originally playing IP, but Dark is so insane. It just comes up way too often. In the mirror match, like, in the mirror match, it's just game whenever you summon this. IP is kind of, it's like not needed if you know what you're doing with the deck. It's kind of just like icing and extra. IP was never really winning you the game. So this was insane. I played Seal. There was consideration to cut this, but I played a card in my extra deck that I needed Seal for, so I had to play a Triple Burst because it points down it's a dragon. You can summon it when Pisty's on board to use it. Unicorn. That's just good utility. This is how you typically out anti-spell a lot. You bait out interactions where your quick plays, you unicorn back the anti-spell, and then you start playing with your brave cards. Access Code, insane card, and Borrow End. I won like 2 to 3 rounds today just because people couldn't really interact with this, or they were playing like a linear deck where they go for 1 line, maybe like a Zeus line or an Access Code line, and you just literally hold it every time for either the Access Code or the Zeus, and it's GG from there. This card is just insane though. I love that card. Baron, Savage, Ruler, Hot Red, Shooting Riser. Pretty standard here. These are just like the synchros you play. Again, you can go for the Hot Red line to play around Dark Ruler post side. Yeah. And for the side deck, I played Triple Twin Twister. I like this better than Lightning Storm right now because against Sword Soul, it's a chainable. You out the anti-spell, which don't typically have, plus the blackout, or you just trade like, it just trades really well with anti-spell. I didn't really play too many Sword Souls, so it didn't really come out. I think I played like 1, but anti-spell was decent. I never lost any games because it wasn't Lightning Storm, so it was okay. I played Dark Ruler. Dark Ruler was good. I thought this would be really good against the Punk decks because not a lot of them are like scything you in standby phase, or you get to the point where you have a decent amount of hand traps, or you hand trap them once or twice, so they can't do it anyway. So like having the Dark Ruler is nice. This was good in the other matchups. I played a lot of Tri-Brigade, so this was pretty good. Being able to negate like an Appaloosa plus a DDL, so that was good. I played 1 Talents. This might seem weird, but it's pretty much just for side deck ratios. There were some matchups I wanted to put it in going first or second, and there was 1 card slot I wanted to put in, so I decided to put it, play the 1 Talents. Simply for side deck purposes whenever in certain matchups. Then I played 2 DD Crow, This had good overlap. This format, as far as like Despia, Drytron. I like this card against Striker. Like against Striker, you don't really want to keep in Veilers and Nibiru's because you're literally just dumping these cards and they still have raid. Nibiru never really resolves, so Diddy Crow is really good in that matchup. Wanted to keep it. I played this card, Qualcomm Dracos. The reason I played Seal, I was worried about Despia post side with the contact fusion guy, so I wanted to play this. So whenever I went first, post side against Despia, I set up Seal, and if they went summon Aliber or set a card, I would Seal bounces summon this, and they literally have no out aside from their normal summon because branded opening summons in defense, so they can't attack over this. So that was pretty good. There was also consideration to play a different card. I'll explain in a second. I played one token collector, obviously because post side you can dump it against Sword Soul. And I played Reboot for back row decks as well, and 2 anti-spell. I hated this card. I do not like anti-spell. I don't think it's really that good. This deck doesn't really draw. So I just have to like hard draw it, and when I hard draw it, it's that less likely that I'm going to be able to combo, and maybe that more likely that I lose to 1 or 2 hand traps that my opponent will have. So I wish this was Spell Canceller, because there's like a line where you can Shooting Riser, dump this, or dump Spell Canceller off of Shooting Riser and then Baron summon it back, and it effectively does the same thing. That would have been way better in my opinion. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, still the side deck seemed really well thought out.
Yeah, and then lastly, 1 Scarlight. Never used it once, but it's there.
I think it's necessary.
Just in case you go on time.
All right. Well, huge shout out to RMC too. I don't know if we mentioned them, but Jose's insane. Let's go. RMC killing it. Have a good one.